We're all good, Doc.
All right. Welcome to the Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central, fresh, hot off the press, week 14 Sunday podcast. Conclusion of the big slate of games ahead of Sunday Night Football, Houston versus the Chiefs at Kansas City. And then, of course, the Monday night game. I will be going to the Monday night game with my son since it's a one-off game, and yeah, I like to take him a little bit whenever possible. Eagles at Chargers. But in the meantime, a fairly busy Sunday here, Taylor. One in which I feel like I'm not sure that I saw enough of all of the games from the War Room. A lot of different injury issues, and we'll go over that. And we had a couple of fun visitors again, Quentin Jammer again, but Coach Norv Turner came by for a while and
Guest appearance on the halftime show as well.
yeah, all good, all good. So where do you want to start for this week in terms of the podcast and injuries and wrap up?
Well, let's jump right into the main.
And by the way, we still have some guys here as coaches speak and things. They'll
for the second half of the
chime
games.
in for the games that had just finished there.
Well, let's just go right out, hit a home run right off the bat, Doc. Everybody's been asking. I see the chat already asking Jones. So tell me real quick on Daniel Jones. It's a little weird one though because usually we have like a journalistically a week to like kind of say like, oh, this might happen. You saw mid game already. Boom, this is the injury. Tell me what you saw on the Daniel Jones play.
Well, live from the War Room here in game, and thanks to you all for showing the replay. I did not see it in live time. I just saw him kind of limping and go down. I didn't actually see the injury, but once you guys showed me the replay, it became clear to me as he backpedaled and set himself, his right foot plants at the 31-yard line and it gives out, and it was a clear Achilles tendon rupture. And that's what we posted and said immediately, and that it has nothing to do with the previous fibula fracture. And we always say, don't judge the reaction. He slammed his helmet, frustration, but that is one where the reaction fit. I mean, this is the end of his season. And the reason why everyone's now talking about what it means is because the team put out within 5 minutes Achilles. They didn't confirm rupture. They didn't say tear like we did, but they said Achilles, and everyone assumes that. And Shane Steichen after the game said it's not good, some negative thoughts, basically not offering any optimism. So pretty clearly, unfortunately, it's a right Achilles tendon rupture. It's December. Rap Sheet has already tweeted 9-month recovery. 9 to 12 months. It depends on position. What Daniel Jones has going for him, what he has going against him is he's getting to the older side. What he has going against him, this is a December injury. What he has going against him, it's back foot, plant foot. Going against him, he does run some as a quarterback. Going for him, he plays quarterback. If this were a running back, wide receiver, DB, I think it's very, very tough to be ready for the start of next season. Daniel Jones, I think, can be ready for the start of next season. Not guaranteed to be 100%, but he can be ready to go, but not for the off-season program. And he's a free agent. So I think, obviously he and his agent will think about it, but it makes it much more likely for someone like Indianapolis to retain him if they felt good about him, because he doesn't need to learn the system, like to acclimate to a new team in the off-season, which will be hard coming off the Achilles. So I don't think his career is over. Look, Kirk Cousins returned from his Achilles. Aaron Rodgers had a really good game today. I know his Achilles is a couple years in the rearview mirror here, but I don't think it's the end of Daniel Jones's career, but it is a certainly significant bump in the road for his career and where he's going to end up. Is he going to have to sign another short-term deal? However, it's the end of his season. It's the end of the Colts season. And from the War Room here, we played the game, right? What's going to happen? I mean, they may like Riley Leonard. Anthony Richardson, I don't think is close to ready. I don't have any reports.
You got to get someone off their couch in theory, or someone.
Well, they were on a rocket ship this year. Now they're in this nosedive.
Right
now, is Riley Leonard going to do it? I mean, they're going to have to sign somebody because Anthony Richardson's not ready. The question is who. You can't trade for anyone. You have to sign someone off the couch or clear waivers, right? And who would that be right now? And in the room, we postulated a few things.
Tell me your thought on who you
well,
said.
I mean, obviously Phillip Rivers' name comes up. He played in Indy. He has an association with Shane Steichen. It's late in the season. His high school football season is done, except I think he's a couple years removed. Look, I don't want to speak for Phillip. Okay. I mean, as you guys know, I'm friendly with him. I text him, he texts me, but I'm not trying to break any news or not break any news. I mean, it's an interesting thought, but if this were 2-3 years ago, I think it would be a done deal. This is the situation, but I don't think so.
I have one I wanted to add in there. Sam Ehlinger right now, he's the practice squad quarterback for the Broncos. He's been in the system before. They could easily just poach him. And like you said, it's a matter of you want Leonard for the playoff because they're 8-5, Doc. You did rule them out. I heard they're not necessarily 100% ruled out, but they demoralizing because, like you said, they were a bye playoff team, and now they're looking on the outside in, right? So
yeah, and look, Sam Ehlinger, I have to go back and look at the history. Is it a Shane Steichen history, or is it
just a Colts thing?
A Colts history? I mean,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of a system, for the current decision makers. The name Matt Ryan came up in the room off the TV desk. Mm-hmm. I know he's been with the Colts, but I'd have to go back and look at that. It's tough. You're
past the point of trading. You're getting the pickings are slim. Yeah,
you get what you can get. This is where, in past years, there's been intrigue with signing a guy off the couch, last minute kind of thing. I mean, Flacco, I know he is with him, but unless he gets waived by the Bengals and clears waivers,
right,
to get to Indy, that's not an option either.
So yeah, that's a big deal, Doc. And like you said, I want to actually, for a return date, it says they're pushing. They always do the agent, 9 months. Basically, the month, if you do the 9 month, it's right at the start of 2026, which is optimistic. I would say.
Have you ever, if the season is 8 months away, have you ever heard anyone say 9 months?
They're not going to put him into the timeline.
The season is 9 months away. You've never heard a 10-month.
He's going to be ready right before, right? Yeah, it's always kind of optimistic.
Look,
yeah.
He can be doing something even before 9 months. When is he ready for gameplay? 9 months is a reasonable target. It's not a guarantee. 9 to 12 months, but that number is made for non-quarterbacks, position players. This is a quarterback, so maybe a little earlier. But you also have to be careful. I mean, there's always the Deshaun Watson cautionary tale where he retore it, right. And it wasn't even in football. It was after, 4 months, or I don't remember how many months it was that he retore it. But it'll be interesting what the Colts do right now, but this is too bad. They were, I think, 8-1, and now they're 8-5, 4 straight losses, and lost their quarterback.
Right.
Tough.
Another injury I want to mention, Doc, you're doing well in the Scott Fish tournament. You are in the quarterfinals. A big fantasy injury that we want to talk about is Devin Achane. 7 carries for 92 and a touch today. That's 13.1 average. He has been awesome all year long, especially in this little 4-game stretch. The Dolphins, Doc, all of a sudden are in it, right? 6-7. They got through a little gauntlet they had earlier in the season, right?
I don't think you said that right.
What'd I say? Oh, don't make me say it again. Yes, I think I did.
You didn't have the hand motion.
Yes, I did. I didn't do that. I didn't do all the legwork on that one. But yeah, big injury for them, for the Dolphins. They're in the thick of things now. Tell me what you saw from the Achane.
I haven't looked at the standings. I don't know if they're in the thick of things. I think they're alive.
They're alive.
Okay, yeah. That's different than
I'm being nice.
in the thick of things.
Yes,
I think they're alive. Or maybe a better way to say it is not dead.
Not dead.
Yet.
Yeah, let's say alive sounds optimistic. You're right.
But in any case, let's talk about the injury itself in terms of what it is. Achane left the game. We saw the play hit, rib injury. By the hit, by the play, by the ancillary evidence, it's likely a rib cartilage intercostal muscle strain issue. It's one that he didn't return to the game. And after the game, head coach said he could have, but Dolphins were ahead fairly comfortably by that point in time. And another reporter, I would say his name, but I don't remember who it was, said there were 2 small bandages. And to me, he likely got a rib block, and it would make sense. It would be 2 intercostal nerves because of the muscle strain goes across the one fracture area. And that's probably what the Band-Aid bandages were for. And that's probably why he was able to return to the game. And which means it's likely that he is limited in practice. I don't even know who they play and when, but should be able to go with game day intercostal nerve blocks again for next week.
And this is something you said is not going to affect his performance from a fantasy perspective. You would be okay with him putting in with the rib block in?
Well, if I had Achane in fantasy, I don't. I would certainly play him. I mean, right?
What do you replace him with in
but,
theory? Yeah.
But by the way, bookmark this, guys. If I end up getting knocked out of Scott Fishbowl, I'm going to blame you, Taylor, because you just said, "Oh yeah, you're in quarterfinals. You're going to make it through." I'm not through yet. So
we're on the way.
Yeah, let's not go there yet. Look, first of all, up until a couple days ago, I didn't know that the playoffs had started.
Right.
And then I realized I'm 2 weeks deep into it. And don't get me out. Like, give me a whole week thinking I'm in the playoffs. I mean, it hasn't even been a couple days that I thought I'm in.
I let you 2 weeks.
Now you're going to get me knocked out before
you even enjoyed it.
Before I enjoy that I'm in the playoffs.
Yes.
So let's go there.
I want to jump to the Thursday game, Doc. 2 big name wide receivers have potential to return. You have Mike Evans and you have Drake London. Tell me your thoughts on their injuries and how they could potentially return on Thursday Night Football.
Mike Evans, who plays on Thursday again?
Falcons versus Tampa.
Oh yeah, Mike Evans should be ready to go. Clavicle, I think he probably was close this week, and lower body he's been running. He should be ready to go. Tampa laid an egg today, but Tristan Wirfs is the bigger question.
That's a huge
deal. We actually thought he could play, but he did not. And I would imagine they're going to do everything possible with the oblique. And sometimes you can inject those 2 to play.
How does that stop an O lineman
it's a core muscle. It's your torso. So of course it can stop you. But I think especially given the loss, which is a big deal, and the Atlanta game, divisional game again, I think Wirfs is going to do everything he can to play in rib block, intercostal nerve block, oblique muscle block, whatever it is, to try and play. Mike Evans, I think, has a good chance to be there. And Drake London, with his possible PCL late in that game a couple weeks ago, I'd be more optimistic on Mike Evans than Drake London.
I do want to mention Falcons were eliminated from playoff contention today, so it would be, maybe not pushing
less
him
of
through.
A reason to push.
Exactly. Real quick, Geno Smith, he left the game due to a cut on his hand, and then there was reports of a shoulder-type injury on the broadcast. What did you see on the Raiders quarterback today versus the Broncos?
Well, of course, a hand injury, a cut, minimal effect. It can hurt. He had it taped up. It wasn't even buddy taped. It was on his throwing hand. We saw the 4th and 5th fingers taped. There certainly was a cut, abrasion. But on the backside of the hand, it doesn't have to do with the grip. But he left after he got dumped kind of on his right shoulder. I don't see that as season-ending, more of a contusion. I think that was a game that was getting out of hand, that with the hand and then the shoulder, he gave way. And interestingly enough, it got a little bit closer at the end. I mean, Broncos were not in jeopardy of losing that game.
Right.
But it ended as a 1-score game with a silly penalty at the end. Look, I don't see it being a significant injury for Geno Smith.
Next one I had, this was a Thursday injury, Doc, but obviously we're talking about big fancy names for people to set their lineups for next week. One I want to talk about is CeeDee Lamb. He suffered a concussion. This was a Thursday game. Does that help him clear for this week against the Vikings?
It does some, because it gives him 3 extra days. But, there have been plenty of concussions that last more than 2 weeks. So it's too early to tell, but it is an advantage. If you're going by statistics, more likely than not, CeeDee Lamb clears. If you took all concussions as the same, if you across a 10-day cycle, more likely than not, but that's far from a guarantee.
Today, Shador Sanders had a career game, and helping him was David Njoku before he got hurt. Tell me what you saw in his injury to his knee.
After he caught that first touchdown, landed on his left knee, and that is the dreaded injury of the season this
Right,
year,
the PCL. Yeah.
Drake London, Brock Bowers,
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix,
Yep.
PCL. His is a little different with the ACL complication, but that was a PCL injury as well. And there are a couple others. I know not too distant past, Christian McCaffrey had PCL.
Yes.
I don't see Njoku playing next week, and quite honestly, it might be the end of his regular season, given Cleveland's situation and position and losses, etc.
Yes, last week the Niners played the Browns in the snow, and they said that was a revenge game for CMC versus the snow. Because remember, he hurt his PCL in the snow. So that's like you said, the PCL has been hurting fantasy players for a couple years now. Zach Ertz has been a top fantasy tight end for years. That was a pretty significant and visual injury to see. What did you see on that play?
Well, it was honestly one of the worst injuries that I've seen where the leg is implanted. Usually, when the foot is planted, then here comes someone who hits you low, then there's the fulcrum force of on the ground. His foot was in the air, and he got the momentum did the damage, and the reverse momentum of the hit, hyperextension of the knee. It's been a report of an ACL, but it's ACL plus. I mean, this is a multi-ligament. ACL, PCL, is it PCL and something else? This is unfortunately an injury that you need to check nerve and artery, and the hope and assumption is it's fine. But Zach Ertz is not playing again this year for sure. There's ligament reconstruction surgery in his future. And I don't know. I don't have his age in front of me, this, that, the other, but is this a career-threatening injury? 100%. Given his situation and what have you. Is it career ending? I won't say that for sure, but as
35, by the way,
at the age of 35 and where he is in his career and what he's accomplished, I mean, it's a tough go to be ready for next season, especially if it's multi-ligament. So it is absolutely career threatening. I won't put the hex on him and even try and say it is career ending, but that unfortunately is on the list of possibilities.
This one reminded me, Doc, this is one of the first injuries I remember. This was the year, I think it was a Shazier year. You remember Zach Miller, the Bears tight end, with his knee? He had emergency surgery to make sure it was different injury. Okay.
Different in the sense that was an absolute knee dislocation with at least 3 ligaments torn.
He needs surgery to save amputation, they said, or something like that.
Because of the artery. I don't think the artery is going to be involved here.
Okay.
Zach Miller's injury was planted.
That was career ending, by the way. Yeah.
That one is career ending. Okay. This one, if Zach Ertz were 25, I wouldn't be uttering the career ending possibility. At the age of 35, anyone who misses an entire season, is he really going to come back at 37, 36, 37? I mean, that's all. I mean, this is a long-term recovery is all.
One just cluster injury I want to talk about, Doc. We were just talking about the Browns, was the Browns offensive line, right? You have DeJuan Jones out for the season. They did transfer Cam Robinson. He's played okay. But you had right tackle Jack Conklin out. You had Wyatt Teller out. And then you had Ethan Pocic go down with injury. Did you see the video and tell me what you thought in that Browns center?
Pocic was Achilles, left.
They said calf, I think, and then you saw was Achilles.
The team said calf. I hope so, but my worry is left Achilles rupture on Pocic, and Cleveland has obviously had a rough run of luck here, and that would be the center guard and tackle all on that one side, and that's one of the reasons we settled on, even though Judkins has done great, Quinshon Judkins, including the Wildcat, on his under. And I don't know where it ended up, but he had a yardage of 80-something.
88.5, yeah.
And I know he wasn't doing that well. I don't know that we have the final numbers from that game. I guess I shouldn't refer to it and say that we took the under unless I know for sure. But
it was 14 for 26, yeah, and it was 80.5 was the prop number. So like you said, he was significantly lower than his prop number.
14 carries, that's a shot at to get in the 80s.
1.9 yards per carry.
1.9 yards per carry, yeah. Obviously with Jeffrey Simmons and company, but also with the hampered offensive line. That was an issue for the Browns rushing the ball today. But Shedeur apparently played very well.
I have a question in the chat. I don't know if we got that video out, but is there any word on the sideline guy who Michael Pittman absolutely took his whole legs out? I saw his head fall down, crack down the back.
Look, I think he probably got a concussion there. I'm hopeful that his knee legs are going to be okay because he was so surprised, right? And guess what? It's a Cobra Kai reference, sweep the legs, but it was the correct direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you got hit from the side, knees don't bend that way.
Mm-hmm.
You got hit from the back, the knees bend that way and absorbed the blow. So I'm hoping he'll be okay. But I got to say, the NFL in a liability world, I mean, I'll bet that guy's got plaintiff attorneys saying, let me represent you. You mean they put you there in an NFL field on the edge of the end zone and had you turn your back to the action and play?
So you have no idea what's going on.
You talk about defenseless receiver. That guy is defenseless, right? He can't even get out. He can't see anything coming. And his job is to have his back to you. I get that. My guess is they're going to end up having to change that. You can't have guys with your backs that close to the action, with your back to the action on the field.
You're literally prone, like you said. It's
it's a liability world. And look, if Reggie Bush with the slippery tarp, on the St. Louis Rams, or if people can trip and hazards, and that guy, he followed rules. He said, keep your back to the action. He did. He's watching the crowd. And I'm not saying that's not necessary, but quite honestly, if you're really going to do that, it's almost like a baseball bullpen. The bullpen's in the action of play. You got a guy catching foul balls and line drives down the right or left field line to protect you from getting hit by a ball because you're not facing the action.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got to have something there. Now you can't have a hard barrier there because you can't have players run into it. Maybe there's got to be a better way of surveillance cameras or having a guy sitting facing the action but looking at survey. I don't know. There's got to be some way from the guy being that close to the action. And look, I've been on the sidelines for 17 years, and you're like 10 feet off the sideline, the edge of play of the action, and it still goes into you quite often. And so, that's how fast and hard the guys come.
All right, next one, Doc. You have the Jets. We had multiple teams go to their second and third quarterback. Jets had to jump all the way to 3 because Fields was out with knee soreness. What are your thoughts this week with Tyrod Taylor now the groin injury, knee soreness for Fields, and now they have the third string quarterback playing?
And who's on the practice squad? Who's next?
That's the question.
I don't know. I don't know either. But the bottom line is the groin injury with Tyrod Taylor likely happened in the first offensive play. And that's a hazard of cold weather, poor footing, etc. And he kept playing, but then, Tyrod Taylor's not known as a pure pocket guy. And so I think it's unlikely that he'll play next week, quite honestly.
Another Colts injury I want to mention just real quick. We had a question. He's been helping a lot of fantasy teams this year because he's been a low draft pick and he's played really well. As Alec Pierce, there was thoughts on what kind of issue he had. What did you see on his play?
It was a close call, touchdown, no touchdown, control to the ground. It got overturned. And he did hit his head. And there was some controversy of whether he had a concussion check or not. My belief is he did hit his head on the ground, that someone signaled down for a concussion check. But the good news is apparently he does not have a concussion and he's not in the protocol. So I hope he got checked and I hope he got cleared, right? The bottom line is he's not in the concussion protocol right now. And the biggest question mark is who's going to be throwing him the ball next week, right?
Yes. T. Higgins just returned from a concussion. He got a concussion check on the sideline, looked a little iffy, was in and out. What are your thoughts on his situation?
I was a little surprised, but, exam is the standard and you can't judge by video. But he had 2 concussion checks in that game early, yet still returned. And he just got cleared from concussion 2 days ago, Friday. So hard to, the bottom line is the red hat and the doctors on the sideline cleared him. So, I'm sure they'll follow him up with follow-up exams. That is scary. T. Higgins, if he does have another concussion just coming off one, it would end his season. This is the first game all season that they've had, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and they got close. But now I think, are they mathematically?
I don't have an E.
eliminated?
I don't have an E next to them, so it might be like a really small percentage. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're 4-9 right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just said Higgins, when they asked about his recent concussions, he said he's a team first guy. So I don't know if that jives with the medical per se. I don't know if the doctor would like that answer, but I get what he's saying. He likes to go out there and help his team, right? So
Well, I mean, he still has to get cleared. I don't care what you tell the doctors.
Right.
They're there to be safety first. So he got cleared. So he had to have done something. They had to have found nothing there. It did surprise me a little bit, only because it's a second concussion check. Everyone knows he's coming off a concussion. He does hit his head. He does grab at his head. That's not the end all be all, but usually it's when in doubt, keep him out. And there was some visual doubt watching it, but apparently there was no actual doubt based on concussion evaluation. So we'd have to trust the process right there.
I have a lot of questions on Jayden Daniels due to his team being ruled out of the playoffs, but I mean, he did leave the game. It looked like it had something to do with his elbow. What did you see in how the Washington Commanders handled the situation with Jayden Daniels?
Well, we talked about it coming in, that his season wasn't over. He was cleared to play. It's safe for him to play with the elbow brace. And indeed, he fell on the elbow, and we said in real time, don't think there's significant injury here. They removed the brace. They checked him. Did the elbow hurt? Absolutely. Was it injured anymore? I don't think so. And that's why we thought he could return to the game. But given the score at the time that was already 17-0 and rising, I think Washington knew that with 9 losses, it was already a Hail Mary chance, even though they weren't eliminated from the division. They were eliminated from wild card already. They already rolled the dice a little bit playing him. It's 17-0. It's really not going to happen. And I think after the game, Dan Quinn did say he could have returned, but I chose not to let him return. That's by the time they were ready to let him return, it was 24-0. And you knew that he wasn't returning to the game. When he left the blue medical tent without an elbow brace on, there was no possible way he was returning the game without an elbow brace.
Yeah.
And that also told you that he wasn't really injured any worse. The elbow was hurt again, but not injured worse. But head coach Dan Quinn said, okay, not again. And I get it. I mean, he's a franchise guy.
That's historically how they've been treating Daniels his whole career when he gets
injured,
but
also, I mean, remember the criticism he got? Why was he still in the game? It was a blowout, and he dislocated his elbow.
Right.
You messed with his career. And we were like, no, his career's fine. He's going to come back even this season. He has. But imagine the criticism if Dan Quinn would have put him back in the game,
right?
Whether he hurt his elbow again or not. Wait, it's 24-0. Why are you doing that to him again? And I think he's sensitive to that and the fact that Jayden Daniels is their franchise guy, and said, look, okay, we got to live to fight another day.
And then just all that, it sounds
or another season.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They play the Giants. It is a big divisional game, but both of them are eliminated. So is the thoughts on him being kid gloved again and not starting this week, or do they just play it by ear, like you said, because it's not as injured?
Well, return to play decisions are always interesting. Medical gets a vote, player gets a vote, team gets a vote. It has to be unanimous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Medical will say he probably could play again with the brace. Daniels will probably say, I'll play. I want to be there for my guys. But the team may well say, look, why? We'd rather not take any small risk. We played you last week and you didn't finish the game. The fool me once, you fool me twice kind of analogy. And you're eliminated officially.
Right. That's a big option.
So why? So I think it's going to be, once again, a coaching decision whether Jayden Daniels plays. And I would lean to, at this moment, probably no.
That's something you always taught me too. If you're in the game and then you leave early, it's hard for a team to play you again, right? You already made a game plan. It's I always thought that was very interesting because you can't, like you said, you don't want to get burnt again twice. So it's sit him out and let him get 100%, right, or whatever.
Yeah, usually when you come back and you re-aggravate something and you don't finish the game, you don't play again next week.
Right. One I want to mention, just so we'll wrap it up, Doc. Couple injuries for next week to look in. Bills and Patriots play. Remember the Patriots had a bye, but they have 2 big injuries on their O-line with Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, their left guard. So we need to monitor that. Bills, obviously, Spencer Brown is a big one for them. Anything else you want to add, Doc, for the games coming up?
Well, I think an interesting game in a few minutes here. Houston,
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
In, I guess, fairly cold weather.
35, and it feels like 23 with the gusts is what I'm reading. Yeah.
Okay, so the gusts of winds could be significant. But, we keep talking about this, and we were talking about this with
In the halftime show. Yeah.
halftime show, and we were talking about with Coach Norv Turner
right.
here. It's not like, oh, it's the Houston Texans, so they're warm-blooded. I mean, you have to go through. I mean, look, CJ Stroud, I don't know where he grew up, but he played at Ohio State. He's played in some cold weather games before in his life in the Big Ten.
Absolutely.
It's not his first rodeo there. Now, is he just because he's been in Houston for 2-3 years, he's now soft? I don't buy that. There's no question. Quentin Jammer was here. We talked to him. He goes, yeah, he didn't like the cold. But here's a guy who grew up in Texas, played football in Texas, and he said there are some cold nights in Texas, but it's not as cold as, look, 30 degrees is not the same as 0, right?
Stroud's from California, by the way.
Stroud's from California.
Yeah. So okay. That's what PHIvsLAC was telling us. That's the number said that the people think it's a factor, and we're just trying to say mitigate it. Maybe it's not, or maybe it's a little bit.
I just think it's too simplistic to say, well, Houston's warm weather, so therefore all the players are warm weather.
That's not how
I think it's a more accurate reflection of who gets affected by weather and used to playing in weather and who's played in weather before. And in general, is that more true for KC? Yeah, we all remember. I mean, look, this is not the game where I still remember the playoff game where you open up the refrigerator for the beer.
Oh, and
you took the beer out of the refrigerator, and within 10 seconds it froze over when it got out of the refrigerator. Now that was cold. That was obnoxious cold. That was against Miami.
Yes.
And I get that whole thing. I'm not sure that's the whole thing. It'll be interesting. The weather factor, Houston, this, that, the other.
It's the O-line,
Kansas City has to win, but 60% of their O-line is out. Right tackle, left tackle, right guard. And, at our halftime show, if you saw it, Steve Fezzik was like, no, the line is steaming towards.
Pros are doing this.
Pros are saying KC. Don't go against that. And we said, well, kind of our injury clusters on KC, and we're for Houston because of that. And Coach Norv Turner said Houston, that they were they were a wagon, as the cool
they're playing really well. Yes,
they're playing well. Who knows? This is why it's a game of football, and it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, go to Sick Picks. Sick Picks had a solid week. Props, and we had our guaranteed pick this hit as well. The Rams -9.5. That was a great pick. Follow our picks. We have college basketball, NBA, and everything else. Doc, anything else? And we'll wrap it up.
Interesting game on Monday night too. No Jalen Carter. No surgery procedure.
Boots on the ground, by the way. You'll be there to monitor Justin Herbert and his wrist, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then Lane Johnson is out.
He is.
The Chargers have still their tackle issues, historical. Marion Hampton is back, but who will get the majority of the carries? I think with Herbert essentially in shotgun.
Kamani Vidal, maybe.
I say Vidal might get, at least half, if not a little over half of the carries, even with Hampton back.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be an interesting game. The line's 2.5 right now. It'll be an interesting game. Eagles favored on the road.
And Eagles are interesting because those two players are arguably their best players on the line of scrimmage, right? The offensive line and defensive line. So that's a big deal for them.
And the Eagles might have a home field advantage.
Yeah, Raiders had a home field advantage last week, so I think they would definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching. Sunday Night Football still to go. Monday Night Football. We'll have the recap pod tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, fairly sharp, because as soon as we're done at 12, I got to go pick up my son and drive up to LA
right, you're on the way.
For the game for tomorrow, and we'll do a recap, so forth. Hopefully, we'll have some good news on some people, but unfortunately, I think Daniels, Jones, Zach Ertz, those are two bad ones for right now, and we'll go from there. Thanks for listening and watching. Appreciate you all.